All right, there's your inventory stuff, all the numbers, and all the other stuff, so we'll get into that. Buy down rates, build lock rates, all that good stuff there. And then I just got two little stories here, a couple little ideas, and we're good. Yeah.
The governor also decided he would neither veto nor sign a
measure. Turn that down a little bit, just a little bit.
Greenhouse gas reduction goals. For Maryland,
Good. Keep that up.
takes a
Okay.
wide variety
Good.
of steps to meet that goal. The measure will become law without Hogan's signature.
All right, good to see everybody.
On Maryland's News Radio Center 930 WFMD.
WFMD sky scan forecast for Frederick and the surrounding counties. For this afternoon, partly sunny, high about 55. Tonight, a slight chance of showers mainly before 8 p.m. Mostly cloudy, low 36. On Sunday, mostly sunny with a high of 52. Sunday night, partly cloudy, low 35. On Monday, a slight chance of showers before 2 p.m.
All right.
Mostly sunny with a high of 62. PJ's Roofing, when it comes to your roof, they've got you covered. Visit pjsroofing.com. I'm Jim Tice.
This is your Frederick Real Estate Update, a conversation about with tips for buyers and sellers. Your hosts, RE/MAX Results, Darren Ahern, and Presidential Bank Mortgage.
Hey folks, welcome back to your Frederick Real Estate Update. I am Darren Ahern with RE/MAX Results, and I also have with me on this beautiful Saturday the man that has all the money over in that vault at Presidential Bank Mortgage, Mr.
Terry Kernan.
Hey buddy, how we doing?
Great. How are you?
We are getting into April, aren't we? This is our 249th program on here on WFMD, doing your Frederick Real Estate Update. And we got a lot of stuff packed in and in store. But we're going to do something fun, Terry. We talked about it. We're going to give away a $50 gift card. I said it on my Facebook Live earlier, and we're on there now, that everybody has to call in to win the $50 gift card. It's 301-694-9363. Again, it's 301-694-9363. You get to call in the next 28 minutes. Here is the trivia question, Terry. Drum roll. Here it comes. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Whoever can call in and tell us, this is a fun one, what percentage between 0 and 10%, so we're going to give a little hint, 0 and 10%, how much is a buyer willing to pay that we're seeing them do to win in a multiple offer situation?
How much over?
Over the asking price. Yeah, between, so it's obviously
based on
one
percentage.
Yeah, based on a percentage, not a dollar amount. And it's between 0 and 10%. So you have a 10, that whoever calls in can get that correct, and it's an exact number. That's the average we've been tracking.
Okay.
And that's what it takes to pretty much get the winning bid for the most part.
All right.
So I've been tracking this quite a while, and I know that number, and so we'll see who's lucky out there. Hint, hint. So who can get that right? 301-694-9363. Terry, let's talk about inventory real quick. Total actives, 260 total.
Total.
We still can't break 300 hardly. Yep, that's 260. That's new construction, everything. Resale, 144.
So that's a little up.
Yeah, we've been as low as 79. That was the, are you serious? Somebody build a house for me.
So
Make
it's almost
one.
doubled.
Yeah, doubled from the low. But 144 so low. This is the kicker. 6 days average on market of those 144 resale homes. Because as you know, we take out the brand new builds because that skews the data. So that's down. That was at about 11, 10. It's down a little bit. Welcome to spring market. Average median price is up. It's at $479.9. So it's up.
$479.9.
That is the median average homes on the market. Resale, 144 of them. The average price is $480,000. Congratulations. New construction, 116. So we've been hovering around 150, 140. We're down. And that's been staying about that number. And the median, this is the average one is 116. You ready? 644,000. Remember when we broke 600 as the average and I was like, are you kidding me? An average brand new build construction is 644,000. So coming soon, 69, which that is really low. We wanted to stay above 100. We did break 100 only for 2 days. And now we're back down to 70 or so coming soon. So thoughts on any of that data right there?
It's got to start changing at some point with what's going on with the rates.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But to see the coming soon shrink, to me, is the most telltale sign, because what I'm seeing is I think that number should be going up because, logically, when people see the rates go up, they're like, okay, I better get my house on the market. I better get things going. I better, if I'm going to sell, I better sell now.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought. So when you said 69 was that number, I thought it was going to be over 100. But
Yeah, it's definitely come down. So, all right, pending under contract, new homes 385 are under contract right now. Resale 405 is those numbers. 6 average days on the market, the resales, and sold in the past 30 days 403.
Okay.
A little bit lower than we've seen by far because there's just not enough gadgets and houses out there to get under contract as a whole within the speed of the market. We call it velocity of the market. And those 403 is average time 5 days on market. And then, year to date, Terry, to 1,215. So our volume is up a little bit. Average of those 1,215 year to date solds is, which is about 100 and some days here now. 6 and 424 average price. The loan to value ratio thing is 101.7 is the loan to value ratio. So that's still staying high. We're a little lower now. We're at 100.1 or 101.1. So that's a little higher than we were just a few weeks ago. And that is because the lower inventory stirred back up again with less to choose from, a little bit within buyers being trepidous about, not losing out on some bids and things like that. So again, you need to call in 301-694-9363. We're going to give you away a $50 gift card today to a place you guys want to have for your sanity out there in the world that we live in today. How's that? It's the percentage. What percentage are buyers willing to go above asking price to win the bid? It's between 0 and 10%. So you got to call in and you can get that. And that gift card, Terry and I will give to you. So, all right. So mortgage updates. Let's roll right on into it.
Right.
What's happening? Here we go.
We got a lot to cover. First of all, a big shout out to a couple of friends of mine, Pat Luce and Chris Cusick. They were both inducted into the Georgetown Prep Hall of Fame last night.
Nice.
And I went to the dinner, and Chris actually runs our secondary department. And it was just a fantastic event. And the reason I did not see Chairman Powell there, he is a Georgetown Prep grad. I did not see him because I was going to pick his ear about what's going on.
Yeah.
But I did not see him there. He might have been there. There was about 300 people there. But a big shout out to those guys. It was a great event, great evening. But let's get into what's going on, Darren.
Also, Sherry Casanova, above stage.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, great job, Sherry. You're listening. Thank you so much. And all you guys, last week's program, you can download it or go back to WFMD.com and then drop down. And our program last week about all the awesome stuff with staging she shared, and her information's on there as well. So abovestaging.com and all that, and so she's good.
Yes, so she did an awesome job, and she was very comfortable to work with. She's obviously very comfortable with the mic, and Sherry did an awesome job.
I'm afraid she's going to take my place.
Well, I don't know.
I better stop going to Florida and Vail and skiing and doing this and that. I better start being on the home front. All right, let's get into it. What's happening?
What's happening? So basically, we started to see rates settle down a little bit, and then all of a sudden, do you know who James Bulliard is?
Blank.
I'm blank too.
Yeah,
I didn't
who's
know
that?
this until
James.
James. So James gets in front of a crowd at the University of Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And James' title, his job, is he's the president of the Federal Reserve in St. Louis.
Okay.
Okay? He's one of 7 voters. And what does James say? James says, if I had my wish, I would raise the cost of money by 3% by the end of the year. Now, the cost of money was at like 0.25%, and the Fed raised it 0.25%. So now the cost of money is at 0.5%.
Okay.
So James is saying, I want, if I had my, wishes, we'd raise it 3%, be aggressive by the end of the year. That's going to put the cost of money at 3.5% to banks. So banks have their margin of approximately 3%. So that means prime rate by the end of the year, if his wish comes true, and he's one of 7 voters on whether they raise rates or not. So basically, we could be at prime rate at 6.5%.
We're going to stick that genie guy back in a bottle.
So when do you think the last time that this happened? When do you think
6.5%, my guess, if I remember.
6.5% prime rate.
Oh, wow. This was probably 15, 20 years ago.
2008.
Ah.
Anything ring? Anything? Any bells go off when I say 2008? with high
Yeah,
rates?
we cringe at 2008.
So what we're basically looking at is we're trying to control this inflation.
No.
And if we can't get the inflation under control. So I do not disagree with James, but what I don't want to see the feds do is do a ready, shoot, aim
Yep.
mentality like they did in 2018. In 2018, they raised. Think about what they're going to do in order to raise it 3%. So if they all agree on that, or only 4 of them need to agree, right?
Yeah.
4 out of 7. If 4 of the presidents agree, then they're going to have to raise these rates at a half-point clips. So they'll raise it a half a point, wait 2 months, raise it a half a point, wait a couple months, and raise it a half a point, and then that's going to put our rates very high. Where do I think our interest rates are going to shake out if that's the case? So in 2008, interest rates were at 5.75%,
Right.
when the cost of money was at 3.5%. So there's always about a 2% variance there. Okay. So that's kind of where I think that the rates are going to shake out. Cost of money right now is at 0.5%. Our interest rates, Darren, are at 5%.
Yeah.
So that gap is huge right now. The investors, they push the rates up. So basically what we're taking a look at is the rate hikes have to follow, okay? And when they do follow, our rates shouldn't go up. I can't imagine they're going to go up to 6%, but I said that they weren't going to go above 4 in the first half of the year, so proved me wrong, proved a lot of people wrong. So that's kind of the big news that's going on. And the big thing that's coming out this week is the Consumer Price Index, which is the CPI. That comes out Tuesday, the PPI, Producer Price Index, Wednesday. And that's really going to tell us where our inflation, if we're getting a handle on this transitory.
Yeah,
that was the big
transitory.
word a year ago, and I kept saying this is not transitory. So let's think about it. CPI is supposed to come out on Tuesday, and it's supposed to be an increase of 1.1%, and the PPI is supposed to come out on Wednesday, and that's going to be an increase of 0.9%. If those numbers hold true, then it's going to push our inflation, our rolling inflation, over 8% in the last 12 months, okay? And that's an extremely high, we haven't seen that since the early 80s, okay? So we're going to be looking at inflation over 8%. Let's say the numbers come in half of what they are, that will be a huge sign that things are starting to slow down, and that will help our rates, but don't count on it. I think we're going to see that the PPI and the CPI are going to show that continued inflation. We got to get our hands around it. We got to choke it. And the only way that we can do that is raising the rates. So I think Mr. Bulliard may get his wish, but we'll see. We'll monitor that.
There you go. All right, the big hot topic, besides the interest rates where they're at now, we had talked, Terry, a little bit. We're dealing with clients we're working with now with lending and all that, with getting the rate locks, the extensions, the costs involved, and all that. I had somebody ask me, they're like, Darren, how much do I have to pay to get back to 3% right now? And I'm like, you need to talk to Terry. I'm not on that side. I don't know all that. So, how does that work? What are you dealing with buyers right now with this whole interest rate lock thing? Because this is a really big one.
So the rate locks, so if you locked in January, early February, you probably locked in at 3.25%. I have somebody that's currently settling on Monday. They're locked in at 3.25. The builder took an extra 60 days. They were supposed to settle 60 days ago. So we had to extend that lock for 60 days, okay? Got another new construction that I'm working with you. Same scenario. We've had to extend it 30 days.
Yep.
So as you get close to your lock date where it's going to expire, you got to really work with your lender and make sure that they're on top of it, because if it expires, all bets are off. You go to market, and basically you go from 3.25 to 5 1/8. Okay, that does not sit well with 99.99% of all people.
Right.
Okay, if your rate expires, so you have to, and you have the ability to extend that lock. So what we do at Presidential is we can extend it for 30 days at a time, and then we reevaluate what we need. It's not just new construction. Okay. I've got one that's the borrowers are buying from a couple that's in bankruptcy, so the bankruptcy court's involved. That's causing a 60-day delay. What does it cost to extend your rate? It costs, for every 30 days, it costs a half a point.
Okay.
So a 60-day lock extension is going to cost 1 point. So on a $500,000 loan, to go 60 days, that's a $5,000 out of your pocket. Is that a lot of money? That is a lot of money, okay? But if you put it into perspective, I'm paying an extra $5,000 to hold my lock so I can get 3.25% interest rate rather than 5 1/8 interest rate.
And what's the difference in interest as a ballpark from 3.25 to 5 1/8? How much per month? Like, how much more would your payment be? That's got to be $300, $400, $500 a month or more.
So I'm going to give you a couple of numbers,
Okay.
and basically we're going to look at 30-year fixed rates.
Okay. Yeah.
Most people get the 30-year fixed rate, so this is kind of the thing. So if we're looking at 3.25%, and you have a $400,000 loan, because the average sales price you said is $480, and let's say 20% down. So I ran numbers at $400K. This is the loan amount. $400,000, 3.25%. The principal and interest, forget taxes, insurance, that's going to be the same no matter what. Principal and interest is $1,740.
Okay.
Okay? If their rate expires and goes back to market, 5.25% is going to be $2,208. So you're basically looking at about basically almost $500. Okay?
Yeah.
So if I have to pay $5,000 or $4,000
Yep.
to extend my lock, it's worth it because that $470 a month, that's going to be paid for in 10 months.
I was going to say less than 1 year. If you're going to live in that house, keep that loan for 1 year, you will then be pocketing, essentially saving $470 per month at that point. Is that right?
Yes.
So do it.
So extend your loan. You know, when the panic sets in, basically you got to sit there and you got to realize that you do have the ability to extend. Now, there are some companies out there that does not have the ability to extend it and keep extending and keep extending.
That's what I was going to ask you. I guarantee there's people out there listening, whether it's new construction or not. Does every lender do the same thing with this rate lock stuff?
Most of them have the same ability, but a lot of them have limits on how many times they can extend it. 60 days is probably the max that you want to toy with, and 60 days is probably the max. After that, investors are going to say, wait a minute, the market's at 5.25, you're at 3.25. At some point they're going to make you go to market. Okay, so 60 days is pretty much the number that you want to take a look at.
Okay. Wow, that's good
Does that
stuff.
help?
Yeah. There you go. That's why, guys, call Terry into the program. You're going to have his information on it. So phone line's still open, 301-694-9363. If you want to get in on the $50 gift card we're giving away, it's what percentage between 0 and 10% above the asking price are buyers willing to pay to get the prize. So $50 gift card we're going to give out for that. If anybody wants it, it's free stuff, good stuff. Life on the streets. Here we go, Terry. Wayne Six, the big appraiser who's on his way to retiring and all that, was at Dutch's daughter this last week. We were there with well over 100 realtors in the whole area to see him and to hear his thoughts on the market and what he predicts and all that and we're experiencing, and to hear what he has to say. And it was very lively. It
was very colorful. And I've heard Wayne speak over the years, and Wayne is he's a good friend and a great professional and a great guy. And he's retiring, so this was his last address to the realtors, and it was very colorful. And he went out on his own terms. And Wayne, thanks for everything you've done. You've been here 42 years, and I've been working with you for the last 36.
And he's been on the program here. I don't know, we've had him on at least 3 or 4 times, and it's been really lively and good to give updates as well. So he's helped me with so many properties. We play the prices right. And I thank Wayne for picking up his phone in his truck whenever he's driving. A lot of times he's working, and I'll call him up and I'll say, Wayne, here's the address. And I'll go, yeah, I know about it. I know that. But and then I'll say, okay, I think the first number's a 5. It's the next 2 numbers I'm struggling with. And I'll give him the data. And he's always been really gracious to get back and say, hey, you got to pay attention to this or look at this or consider this and da-da-da. So, and he's helped a lot of our clients with resales by, pre-sale appraisals before they put the home on the market. And Kenny McLean's awesome job. He's been on here last time he was on. We talked real briefly at Dutch's daughter there at the thing this week. And he said, yeah, maybe in June or so. And so this summer we're going to have him back on, and we're going to cover that stuff like that. So, but here's what we're finding out live in the streets. And this is what he had shared. Last year, 2021, from January till the end of April, Terry, the appreciation of home values in Frederick County would go up 7.5%.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's smoking.
That was last year.
Yeah, last year, 7.5% at this time. And then after July, it goes down a little bit, and we landed at about 14% as a whole within the county. And that's what 2021 looked like. And so far this year, from January till this point in time, it's 4.5%. And if we stay on the same trend that we're on right now, by July and all the way until December, that appreciation amount each month will slow down just a little bit. And the prediction is we should land at about 8% or so with gains within the county at the end of December. And a lot of that is going to depend on how much higher these interest rates go.
Yes.
Now, 8% is on the trend of what we can tell. Now, sellers will say, hey, that's not enough. It was 14%. 8%, that's all. Terry, that's double the average still. So, we're still looking at a good year.
Still looking at an awesome
But
year.
if rates go to 6% or 6.5%, that number is going to go down sharply. It is not going to be 8%. It's going to be more like 5 or even less, depending on what price points. And so that was some good numbers he gave us that I think was really good to pay attention to and to be able to, to share here. So a lot of people are asking, Terry, what would cause the rates to go to 6% or plus? A stock market crash, gas going to $7 a gallon. That would be inflationary pressure getting more out of control than it is now, which we don't foresee that. Food going up 20% and a plus and all that stuff. And we're not going to probably see that, so there's no need for doom and gloom. Thoughts on that?
Thoughts on that is the stock market crash would actually, people would, in theory, put money into the bond market and the bonds would come down, okay?
Yeah, right.
Or the rates would come down. So a stock market crash would have an adverse effect on that. But let's take a look at what's going to cause rates to go up.
I can't help you with that.
Okay.
Siri's talking to me.
Siri's wanting to get on this conversation.
Siri's
Siri's
trying
wait
to
a
get
minute.
the gift card.
Well, yeah,
Siri's trying to get
there
the
you
gift card.
go. Tell us what number there.
So basically, rates are going up because of one thing, I believe, and that is or two things. Basically, the inflation, and then the war and the uncertainty in Russia and Ukraine. That war has lasted longer than most people, especially the Russians, have believed it would. I think Russia thought that it was going to be like a blitzkrieg and in and out in a couple of days, but that is far from the truth. So that uncertainty is causing it. Also, this inflation numbers where it just keeps going up. The 12-month average keeps rolling up, which we need it to go in the opposite direction. Until inflation goes in the opposite direction on that rolling 12-month, we're going to still see pressure on rates to go up, bottom line. And if they do go up to 6%, just remember, they are going to come back down, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Don't go wild with trying to buy the rate down, and we'll talk about that at another time, maybe the next show. We can talk about buying down a rate and what it takes and the differences and the break-evens, but basically, we're going to keep seeing pressure on the rates.
Yeah. All right, here's what I'm dealing with. I got a property, I got a buyer that's looking at this house, Terry, that they got their eye on, but the seller needs to find a home of choice, and they want to have that all the way until July 15th.
Wow.
Let me say that again. They would like the buyers who offer on the house to give them all the way until July 15th to find a home of their choice. Do you see a problem with that?
For a lot of buyers, I think that they're so frustrated right now that I think that they are willing to do that. I think that if they've offered 4 or 5 contracts and they've lost all, they'll be like, sure, just tell me what I need to do to get this house.
So, yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, that's 2.5 to 3 months. Normally we give about 30 to 45 days to find a home of choice, okay? What this does, if a lot of the sellers start to do this, this will start to undo the gridlock, we call it little by little, because it's given a chance, either A, home of choice, or B, a rent back. Like, we'll settle when you're ready and your loan's done, but yet we want to rent back, okay, until July 15th, which still buys time in a sense for the seller to do what they need to find and do for what their life wants to do, right?
Okay.
All right, so I think the sell and rent back is a lot better in for the buyer.
Yes.
Okay,
I
no
totally
doubt.
believe that because they own
This-
the house.
Right. Yeah, they own it. It's a guarantee thing coming. There you go. Obviously, 60 days is the max we can do on a rent back, but with the lending guidelines, right? And so therefore, we keep all these things in mind, but it's more advantageous for the seller to settle when the buyer is ready and just do a rent back. It's just by far, because the chances of them paying, like getting, free rent back is pretty great and all that kind of stuff like that. This is a tougher position for the seller to be able to say to a buyer, we want until, because here's why. It's not a guarantee that they're going to find a place by the 15th of July. So therefore, the buyer could have their hands tied up waiting for the seller to do what they're going to do and miss out on maybe other opportunities, unless in the contract we put a clause in there that says the buyer has a right to terminate the contract at any time. By doing so, they do not have a right to wait till the end of that contingency period for the seller to find a home of their choice.
Okay.
I would never lock a buyer into that. That would not be a smart move in that
Good
regard.
call.
Unless the buyer says, I'm all in, this is the house we want, we're going to take that risk. At the end of that time frame, what can happen? Well, they can give them more time, which that would be a little tougher to do after 2 or 3 months. Or declare the contract null and void, and the buyer has to start over again, and so does the seller and all. So those are what I'm dealing with. Other things is this, Terry, I had a listing this week. What is the knowledge and the attitude about the current market conditions that these sellers are having right now? So I was on a good appointment this week. Number one is they understand that there's less buyer affordability and slightly less demand. Higher interest rates they know about. It's freaking them out. They're scared to get the market on the buzz, thinking things are going to crash. Said no. The big thing they didn't know about was the fact that we had Kenny here before. We had known about 16 to 18% appraisal issues we were having. Remember? Mm-hmm. When Wayne Six on this week said it's up to 30%, 3 out of 10 homes. This is what I've been saying. It's like 3 out of 10 homes we're having valuation issues, and that right there caused our sellers to say, "Yep, we absolutely do not want to overprice this. We understand what's going on. Thank you for the data. We get it, and we're good." So, last thoughts. We got 20 seconds.
No, basically, and the 30% is basically an appraisal can come in $5,000 short. I mean, we had one that was.
Oh, we've had them.
$685 sales price, came in at $680. So it's not really a huge problem, but it's a trend that we're seeing that's going to continue.
Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff we are seeing as far as there. So, all right, folks, have a great weekend. Terry and I are here to serve you as always. We appreciate you. Tell your friends about your Frederick Real Estate Update program, and we'll see you next week. Now, take care and have a good weekend. All right, good seeing everybody. Hope you're doing well. Get in touch with us if you need anything.